everybody. So first I would like to just say thank you so much for all the support and love that I've been constantly receiving since I've done my last few since I started these videos, but especially my last few. I've gained so much support and I've been welcomed into so many communities involving other families affected by Rocketdyne and affected by cancer in the area. So I first wanted to start off by saying thank you to everybody who's had my back. Recently, since I released my last video talking about the Rocketdyne fire and the air quality, I have been getting some blowback from people who are asking me to prove it and where's my data. And well, the day I found out was the day I got my diagnosis, and I have the backing of a medical professional, my doctor. He's the one who told me all about Rocketdyne and all the children he's seen come into the hospital sick with all rare forms of cancer, and he said they're all from the Simi Valley area and Ventura County and the West Hills area. They're all within 20 miles, he said, of Rocketdyne. So I'm not making this up for those who doubt me and don't think that I'm being 100% honest. I just wanted to get that out there because, yes, I do take what happened at Rocketdyne extremely personally, because I've had to go through things that no person in their life should ever have to go through, especially at 22, 23 years old, how old I am. Like, for example, I had to have a craniotomy. I had to shave my head, lose all my hair at such a young, vulnerable age. That was very traumatizing for me. And I had to undergo brain surgery, and I now am missing very crucial parts of my brain. Obviously, I'm doing okay without them, but I do have side effects that aren't visible to the human eye. I lost my temporal lobe, my hippocampus, my amygdala, all because a tumor was growing in my brain because of radiation exposure I've had my entire life growing up in Simi Valley. I had a swimming pool from the age of 4 to 14 years old, and I lived in that pool, so that could have been where I got it. I lived in an area that was right on top of Rocketdyne, and that could have been it too. We don't pinpoint exactly when I got sick, but they know, the doctors, medical professionals, scientists all know the reason I'm sick is from Rocketdyne. So I had to just do that alone. Brain surgery is not easy, and because of the brain surgery, I had to retrain my brain to do everything you can think of. I don't remember falling asleep from my surgery, but when I woke up, I was in the most unimaginable amount of pain possible, and I still live in that pain almost every day of my life. And when I say retrain my brain to do everything, I mean I couldn't walk when I woke up, and I was able to walk a few hours before. I could hardly speak. I wasn't able to feed myself. All these things I had to retrain myself to do, and the hardest part for me was my entire left side was not working. I could hardly move it. It was very, very weak compared to the other side of my body. They don't know why that happened during the surgery, but the right side of your brain does control the left side of your body. There was days after surgery where my leg would get so weak, it would just give out, and I would fall down and hit my head, and I'd be at more risk for more issues because I had to go through such a radical surgery because of the brain tumor that I have because of Rocketdyne. I also have had to sit in a doctor's office and be introduced to an oncologist at 22 years old and be told that I have cancer in my brain. That is something that you can't forget. I have memory issues, and I can't get the memory of that day out of my head. It was absolutely traumatizing being introduced to an oncologist. Like, all of a sudden my whole life was flipped upside down. I thought I was getting ready to go back to being 22 years old and everything was going to be okay again. I've also had to tell my family and my friends about my diagnosis, and let me tell you, none of my family, none of my friends, and none of my loved ones have looked at me the same since I've been diagnosed. And that has to be the part that stings the most. My mom looks at me as if I'm gonna vanish before her eyes. Everybody thinks that I'm just gonna die in a couple days, and they all hurt too because of the pain that I'm in every day, and because it kills them that they can't take away what I'm feeling and what I'm dealing with. They all wish they could take it on, and unfortunately, I'm glad that they can't. Obviously, I don't want anyone else to suffer with what I'm going through, but they can only do so much. I had to tell my little 10-year-old niece, at the time she was 9, that Auntie has something called cancer. And I am a very important person in my niece's life. I've been there for her. We've been very close, and telling her and having to explain to her that Auntie's not going to die, Auntie's just sick, and I might not feel well sometimes, and it's not your fault. And she gets very hurt when she comes over because I can't play with her the same way anymore because I'm sick. I've also had to have 10 MRIs in the last year, and each MRI comes with the exact same thing, which is after my surgery, I was thrown in an MRI 5 minutes after waking up. My head was out to here, and I was in the most excruciating pain in my entire life. And all I think about when I'm in any MRI now is I reimagine that pain, and so I have a little bit of PTSD from that now. I've had to go to hundreds of doctor appointments this year, do so many blood tests, and all these things, all these appointments and MRIs and things I've had to pay for. Whatever insurance doesn't cover has to come out of my pocket. So I'm also having the expense of having to pay for cancer when it could have been prevented. I've had to watch my mother cry because she said she's supposed to protect me. She's supposed to not let anything bad happen to me. That's what a mother does. And I've seen her and heard her break down over the phone so many times because of what I'm going through hurts her so much. I suffer in pain, as you guys know, every day of my life. I have chronic migraines. Doing anything, even just opening my eyes hurts. And people are like, well, how are you doing it? How are you doing? You suck it up. It's been a year. I suck it up. I go outside. I do what I have to do, and no more than that. This one was really hard, and I'll probably cry. The day I was told about my diagnosis, Blake was sitting with me. So I had to sit there and watch the man I plan on marrying and have a future with. And I had to just watch his face fall when the word malignant came out of the doctor's mouth, because we both thought that meant our future was dead. And that image of his face falling like that, and just his reaction is forever burned into my brain, because he has an option to not be involved in this anymore, but he loves me so much, and he's taken care of me throughout all this. The caregiver doesn't get enough credit in all this. He's been through hell and back too, and that kills me that he's had to go through this with me, but I love him, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. And that same day was the day that the doctor was nice enough to call my mom with me in the room and explain to her how my benign tumor was in fact malignant. And I could hear my mom's voice shaking and cracking, and I know when my mom cries, and that's a sound I'll never forget. It was like I literally heard her heart breaking. And if the Rocketdyne meltdown wasn't kept so quiet, then maybe, just maybe, something could have been done for me a little bit sooner. Maybe we would have known to have some more checkups. Maybe we would have known when I first started getting headaches that something was wrong. But I've lived through all that and so much more, and you know what? I can deal with it. I can deal with all the medical stuff, but the emotional impact that Rocketdyne has made is just absolutely devastating. I definitely think that no child should ever have to deal with a cancer diagnosis. No child should have to spend their entire childhood sick and in a hospital and suffering, and yet around probably, I want to say, at least 100 children in the 20 miles vicinity of Rocketdyne, they all have no choice. That's what they have to do, and their entire family also suffers. It's not just the person with cancer who's suffering. Yes, they do suffer the most because they have to take the medical stuff too. But the entire family suffers because of the emotional impact that cancer makes on families. So, yes, I do take what happened at Rocketdyne a bit personally. I think at the very least they could clean up their damn mess. We're taught when we're kids, if you make a mess, you clean it up. Why couldn't they do it? Why can't they do it? It's time for something to happen, and it's time for something to happen now. I want this to stop affecting so many families in Simi Valley and the surrounding areas. I can't bear to hear about another child lost because of cancer in this area when it could have been preventable. All we want is the cleanup that should have happened years and years ago. That's all any of us want. So I'm going to keep advocating, regardless of all the people who keep trying to tell me, prove it, prove it, prove it. I have proof because I have medical doctors backing me up, telling me that this is a real thing, and they're seeing it every day in the hospital. And that's as much backup as I think I need. Google it. You can find all the statistics on Google too. I don't need to sit here and tell you all the statistics. I know that this is impacting me, and that's what I'm talking about, is the impact that it's making on me and everyone around me, and I'm sick of it. I want something to be done. That's why I'm doing this. All I want is a cleanup. What's wrong with that? That's all any of us want. What is wrong with asking for the mess that's causing so much turmoil to be cleaned up? I don't see a problem with that. And those of you who do, don't watch my videos. It's that simple. But that's it for this video. I'm done ranting. Thank you again, everyone, for the support and the love. I cannot tell you how much it means to me. Please keep the fight up. Please don't let me be the only one speaking up about this. I need some support in order to get the word out. Share my video, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, whatever you can do to help. And if you want to help the people who are affected, please do it. Just click the share button or whatever you're able to do. I hope that this gets resolved soon and that no more people fall sick from the devastation of Rocketdyne. And thank you all for watching. Bye.